Hi there viewers, I'm the Extraordinary Tourist and welcome to another of my animation video diaries. In this diary episode I'm going to continue on from last week and show you how much further I've progressed with my Desert Scavenger character. If you recall, last week I was working my way through developing all the hand sprites. This week all that work is done, and as you can see all the hand sprites are finished there, and I've transferred them over onto the other arm. Also this week I've been working on these robes that go around the character's hips and thighs. I'm trying to get those so that you can use this character as is with the robes, as you can see them here, so that when the character's legs move around they look somewhat natural, as much as anything can on a puppet character rig. Because you'll notice, if I just quickly show you what happens when I move the leg around at the joint, you'll see here how that affects the robe and how it kind of looks okay, but it's probably not how that robe would actually react in real life. But as I said, it's the best you can sort of do with a puppet character rig that's got sort of a fixed image. Also this week I've been working on creating some more options for the character's head. You'll notice, like in the Star Wars movie, that this character is a parody from the Rey character in that. After you initially meet her and she removes the goggles and hood, she proceeds not to wear them for the rest of the film. You can just has like a bare head and you can see her hair. So that's what I wanted to create for this character and give people that option. To either be with or without the headpiece. And so that's what I'm going to show you me creating now in a sort of speed draw narrated commentary, which is coming up. So without further ado, we'll get into that. So here you can see the full character pose, and my goal for this session was to remove the character's goggles and headscarf, so that, and to give her the appearance that Rey has throughout the Star Wars The Force Awakens. Once she leaves Jakku, she generally never wears all this headgear again. It's just her bare head and hair that you can see. So I wanted to make it so that you could do the same with this character. You could have her either with her desert scavenging headgear, or take it all off and just have her with the bare head and hair showing. So as you can see here, I started by going back to my sketch that I did for the whole character and just making that much lighter so I could draw on top of it and get the head shape right and add in the hair. And I've got that picture up in the top left corner, which is a I think it was a concept art sketch just for the costume design, because if you look at it up close, it's not exactly the same as the costume that Rey wears in the film. It's got a few extra details that are missing, such as the leg bandages and stuff. She doesn't seem to wear those in the film, so it's perhaps an early concept sketch, but I used that mainly to get an idea for what her hairstyle looked like. And even the way I draw it is not exactly how she wears it in the film. For example, she doesn't have the two curls on her forehead there in the film. It's just all slicked, or all pulled back away from her face, if you look And it's the same in the concept sketch. She doesn't have those curls on the forehead. But that's what I did. I drew the rough sketch and then I added in another layer and did a more refined looking outline just to get sort of final shapes until I was happy. And then here I am coming in with the vector lines for inking it in. And you can see here why I like to use vector lines to ink in my drawings, because it doesn't matter where you draw them, you can always go back and edit the points in later. So these lines I'm adjusting here were ones that I didn't delete from the original face, so that I wouldn't have to redraw them. I knew I could just adjust them to fit my new lines and stuff. Which is what I'm doing. So you see I'm adjusting the points there and adding new points in to sort of fit this new hair that I've added. And I thought with the face there that I hadn't put those on separate layers, but I actually had, so the only reason I redrew them in my sketch was just to get an idea for where they'd be, rather than leave those layers turned on and run the risk of sort of accidentally drawing on the wrong layer. You can also see by removing the headpiece, I had to also remove the scarf and stuff around her neck and give her an open neck, which means that the sprite for her body will also have this second option of not having the scarf around it. So once this character is in CrazyTalk Animator, you'll have two face sprites, which give you the two versions of the head, and two hip sprites, which in a G3 character, the hip sprite is basically the entire torso. So I had to do like a torso sprite that included the bare neck without the scarf wrapped around it. So you can see, again, I'm able to really edit the points of each of these lines and get them just where I need them to be. It's really handy being able to do that rather than drawing raster lines and then if you get it wrong having to actually erase the whole line and draw it again. So you can see now I'm actually adjusting the neck and drawing that section on the torso sprite so that she'll have the open neck without the scarf around it. And going into the raster layer there. All of my sprites I do an ink layer, which is just the black outlines on a vector layer, and then all the colouring is done on a separate layer, which is a raster layer. So that I can get all the nice fine detail and shading without all the fiddling around that you have with vector layers. If you want to do things like gradients and stuff, you have to kind of go into the settings a lot more and do a lot less drawing and more playing around with settings. So you can see I'm sort of erasing the parts of the colouring on my original face that I don't need to match up with my new lines. Because originally to do the new head I just duplicated the one I had and then erased anything that I didn't need, which is what I'm doing here with the colouring. You can see there I'm adding in a circular area for the neck so that when the head moves around it should sort of hide the break between the head and the body there. See here, adding in shading for the face. And with this character, although I'm adding shading, I'm trying to keep it fairly simple. Because I want to keep it sort of relatively cartoony and two-dimensional looking. The shading just gives it, helps to make the character stand out just a little bit more from the background, so it's not too flat. It gives it some detail, but without getting overly complex and trying to turn it into a fully three-dimensional looking figure. See here, like doing the details on the hair here. Just adding the eyes in. So there you go, that's the character with the head removed, with the hat removed, and with the hair. So there you go, I hope you found that speed draw and commentary narration interesting, and that perhaps maybe you got a few ideas and tips out of that for your own characters. I'm hoping to have this whole character finished by the end of November, hopefully, but if not, at least by the next diary I'm hoping to have a draft of the character rigged up in CrazyTalk Animator, so you can get some idea of how the character moves in that software. The next things to do is to animate all the sprites for the eyes and the mouth, or create those. Hopefully that won't take too long, as the eyes and mouth are not terribly complex in their design. Just a case of getting through however many sprites are needed for those. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and until next time, thanks for watching.